Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another KP's Plays YouTube video or podcast if you're listening over on Spotify for podcasters. We are back with a Night of Champions predictions video and podcast, and we're basically going to be going through what we think is going to be happening at Night of Champions, all of the ways the matches are going to go, so sort of like predicted results, outcomes, whatever, shenanigans involved. And yeah, just discussing everything to do with the upcoming premium line event this Saturday over in Saudi Arabia. Today I'm joined by Scarlett. Let's get down to business then. So let's get started. First up, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest talking points going into this premium live event. We've got Cody Rhodes taking on Brock Lesnar. And when it comes to this particular matchup, it's quite an interesting one because when you think about obviously the build up to this one, you had their match at Backlash and Cody winning that one by like a little bit of a sneaky pin on Lesnar, catching him out. It got to a position where Brock wasn't done. Cost Cody the World Heavyweight Championship picture, and it would lead up to this match. Regarding the match itself, it's a bit of an awkward one for me because they built this whole broken arm of Cody Rhodes. I just don't believe that this is a logical way to build this match. So they're saying that Cody's got a broken arm going into this match against Lesnar. Does that mean they're going to give Lesnar the win, but they're making Cody act out like that he's really, really badly injured in order to give Lesnar the win? Is that the only way they're doing this? Gets my head a bit thinking, I'm not entirely sure if that's the way they're exactly thinking this one through, but it definitely strikes me as one of the potential options. Because either way, if you really have Cody beat Lesnar with a suspected broken arm, again, quotation, then really, is that going to be the right move? It's going to make Lesnar look very weak. So I think for that reason, I'm going to have to go with a Lesnar win here. It just makes a bit more sense in my opinion. So, yeah, I think Cody Rhodes is going to lose this one. He's going to come off short against Lesnar because of that injury. Because if they go the other route, they're basically screaming that they're trying to outdo the torn pectoral muscle from last year and the Hell in a Cell match against Rollins. I don't know. You could make a running joke about this maybe next couple of years ago. You could maybe fracture his skull next year and he could have a elimination chamber match against 5 other people, and then we'll come out with a title. I don't know. It gets to a bit of a jokey position at that point. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with Lesnar winning this one. But it's definitely a big talking point. I'm interested to see how this one actually gets booked. But yeah. Very, very interesting topic of conversation. Scarlett, do you have anything else to add to this one, buddy? What are your thoughts regarding this one, then?
Yeah, the interesting part is, had they not gone with the broken arm angle, I think this would have been, hopefully a better match than the last one we got. But I think because they're using the broken arm, I think clearly Brock is going to win. But for some reason, WWE doesn't want Cody to eat a clean loss. That's the only way this makes sense with the broken arm angle. And hopefully he's not booked as strong as he was with the torn pec against Rollins, because that was kind of embarrassing. I think that's what caused, a few people, maybe like yourself, KP, that just, aren't a huge fan of Cody Rhodes being booked as strong as he is. So I think Brock has to win this. I kind of want it to be in, dominant fashion, but knowing WWE, I don't think they will. So we'll see how that goes. I think that's the best choice here, and then kind of do your best of 3, which seems to be the reoccurring theme here with Cody, in his rivalries, not including Roman. So I think Brock is the clear choice here. Back to you, KP.
Yeah, similar opinions there. Scarlett basically just following up on what we think is going to go down. Yeah, it's an awkward one. I'm really not sure, but we think we've got it sussed out. Let's find out if we have a Night of Champions. Right, let's move on now then. Let's talk about something a little bit different, and we're going to be discussing the Raw Women's Championship match, and this is actually a rematch from WrestleMania. So obviously we had Asuka and Bianca Belair go one-on-one over at the Showcase of the Immortals. Bianca Belair would win that match, come out on top, still the Raw Women's Champion, and hasn't really done an awful lot since then. This match hasn't been particularly well booked, kind of similar fashion to their WrestleMania match. I don't know, it just sort of seems like the build for this, they don't really know what to do. So it's very stop-starty. It's almost as if you you start building it, and then like you forget that it's happening, and then suddenly it will come out again, and they're like, oh yeah, these two are, you know, starting something off again. I don't know, like I want to be a bit more enthusiastic for this, because obviously if you put Asuka and Bianca in a match, like, you know, that's two ingredients for what should be a completely thrilling encounter. Really good match, but it's just one of those weird ones, right? But anyway, let's stop talking about that kind of thing. We'll talk about this one right now. Regarding Night of Champions here, right, this is a very difficult one, because I've gone against Bianca for Asuka before, and obviously it didn't happen. But to be fair, now Bianca's the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion, so that record is you know, ongoing. She's breaking the record each and every single day. She's extending it, sort of thing. So I think that's sort of like one of the leashes off there, to be fair. So I'm kind of tempted to go with an Asuka win, but I don't know if that's just me wanting an Asuka win or whether I genuinely think it's going to happen. But I think in this case, I am going to go with an Asuka victory here. It's an awkward one. I really wouldn't be surprised if Bianca Belair walks out as still the Raw Women's Champion. But I don't think they can keep giving Asuka losses at premium live events. I think it's just going to hurt her eventually. It's going to catch up with her, and then it's not going to go away from there. I think this is the time for Asuka to get the win, and we get a new Raw Women's Champion, fingers crossed. That's what I'm going with. Scarlett, any clearer visions regarding this one, buddy?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense that Asuka's being booked here against Bianca again if they're not going to give her the title. I think that's the only logical choice here, and more oftentimes than not, we pick against Bianca because, you know, how many people has she faced that we thought she was going to lose, and it usually ends up fighting us. But I think this has to be a, you know, as you attested to, she broke the record or whatever. I think if you're going to, you're not going to find a better opponent to lose the title to, and really been waiting on a solid heel build of this Asuka Kana variant character. I think this is the time. Let's just hope they pull the trigger. Back to you, Kate.
Fingers crossed for sure. Yeah, let's hope for the best, right? Just basically just see what goes on. Hey, let's move on now to something a little bit different. We've got Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus going one-on-one against each other, and this one's been quite fun. I've enjoyed this one, to be fair. You've had a little bit of heat between the two of them. Obviously, this dates back to just after WrestleMania, where Trish would cost Lisa and Becky Lynch the tag team titles, and then since then it's been very much a case of just these two doing it themselves, building this feud, and it's been quite a lot of fun to watch. I've really, really enjoyed it, and this is something that's actually been booked relatively well recently. Trish coming out and obviously, you know, trying to look for Becky. She's lost and whatever. Becky comes back, makes a statement, and they had a contract signing recently on Raw. It's been a good watch. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the match as well. Regarding Night of Champions, I just think the logical choice here for winning the match has got to be Becky Lynch, right? She's the current talent. I think, you know, when it comes to Trish Stratus, she's not really back to being involved in the permanent aspect, I don't think. She's back to, you know, mix it up with one of the biggest names currently, you know, on the women's roster, and that's Becky Lynch. Obviously, we had Trish Stratus going up against Charlotte a number of years ago at SummerSlam. This is obviously Becky's chance to go up against Trish, and yeah, I think it's going to be Becky getting the win here. It's been very heavily Trish in the past few weeks, sort of thing. So I think this is this is going to be a good match between the two of them. I'm hoping for anyway. Fingers crossed it is a good match. But on paper, it looks really good, right? But yeah, I think the crowd are going to eat this one up. I think it's going to be a pretty good watch. And yeah, Becky Lynch to get the win. That's my opinions on this one. But hey, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. Bring it on. Scarlett, what are your thoughts on this one then, man?
Yeah, I think this build has been one of the better ones of the pay-per-view. I am kind of worried about Trish's ability to wrestle still. She's been back for a while, but and she did look better than Lita last time they tagged. But yeah, I think all logic points to that Becky should be booked to win here, and part-time talent, older talent pushes the newer talent. That doesn't always happen though. I don't know. I feel like this feud's kind of just getting started. And they booked it. They put a lot of time into it, and I feel like Becky winning here is kind of too early for the story to end. So I actually think Trish is going to win the match here. Hopefully, in the end, Becky will, come out victorious, but over the feud overall. But I think Trish is going to pull out some sort of sneaky win here. At least that's my thoughts here. Back to you, KP.
Thank you very much. Difference of opinions there from myself and Scarlett. Whilst we're just talking about that, I was just thinking that maybe, do you reckon Lita's fully done with this? Do you reckon Lita can still get involved in some way, shape, or form, or do you reckon that it is literally just down to Becky and Trish now, and the whole Lita stuff is behind this situation? What are your thoughts on that? Just quickly, whilst we're discussing this.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I personally don't. I mean, unless someone's gonna come back up Trish at some point. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to it, I guess. But you know my opinion on part-time talent, anyways. But yeah, I think the story has been pretty good, and I think they've kind of been holding back shots. Finally, had some good shots on Monday. I think they're still holding a lot back. I think this feud could go on for quite a while. But either way, as long as it does, I'm happy with it.
Same, to be fair, yeah. Like I said, it's been really enjoyable, quite fun to watch so far. So I don't mind if this gets like a second chapter. If Trish does win, keep things moving. I've enjoyed it, so carry on, I say. All right, so what we've got next, we've got the Intercontinental Championship match to talk about this one. We have got, obviously, Gunther, the current champion, defending up against Mustafa Ali. And, you can say whatever you like about why Mustafa Ali has got this match, and that's all I'm going to say regarding that particular discussion point there. But, hey, it happened. He won a Battle Royal. He's earned himself a shot at the Ring General. And, Night of Champions, big stage to do it over in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I mean, this one for me sounds like a pretty simple one. It's got to be Gunther, right? There's no way he's going to lose to Mustafa Ali. It'll be nice for Mustafa to get a big title match on a big stage, premium live event, lots of people watching, good exposure and stuff. He's on this recent run of positive attitude that he's been going through. I think Ali's doing things right at the moment. I really, really do. It's just that, yeah, I think it's the wrong place at the wrong time. Or maybe right place at the wrong time, perhaps, actually. Yeah, against someone like Gunther, he's on this, obviously, incredible Intercontinental Championship run. It's never going to happen. He's not going to lose it to Mustafa Ali. That's all I pretty much got to say about this one. But, Gunther always puts on really good matches. So I think it's still going to be a good watch. I really do. It should be entertaining for sure. What about you, Scarlett? What do you think about this one then, man?
Yeah, I think there are two matches on the card that are pretty predictable in terms of outcome. And this is one of them. I don't think the match will be bad. Actually, I think it could be, one of the better ones, if not, maybe the best one of the night. But I have 100% confidence that Gunther will walk away here with the title, and rightfully so. I think it's going to have to be a pretty big build-up to whoever ends up taking that Intercontinental title from Gunther. Back to you, KP.
I think now it's more of a who the hell is going to take the title off of him, because he's on such a great run, and it's not going to be Mustafa Ali, let's put it that way. Right, okay, let's focus our attention now on something a little different, and we're going to be talking now about the Undisputed Tag Team Championship match. We've got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the current champions, taking on the challengers, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Not something I thought I would be saying a month ago, or whenever it was that we did our last video. But either way, yeah, this is something a bit different, right? I think this is a pretty clear one to judge and to predict. I don't see any way that Roman and Solo walk out of here as the tag champs. He's got two titles held hostage as it is. He's not even defending them in Night of Champions. He's going in and wanting more gold around his waist and stuff. Obviously, he's got Solo on his at his side to try and help him with this one. But I mean, Sammy made a really good point on SmackDown last week. He said that you guys just aren't as good as us. I genuinely really agree with that. That comment just sort of really fit well with the whole situation. Roman and Solo, they've never tagged together before. You can't seriously say that these just because they're family and stuff. they're going to do really well. Kevin and Sammy have got like ultimate tag team cohesion together, and yeah, like I just thought it was a really nice sentence that Sammy said, and then obviously you follow up with saying like you're not even as good as the Usos sort of thing. Like I just thought that whole thing went really, really well. That promo was great, and the build for this one actually has been pretty decent. Obviously, we see a little bit more coming on Friday night, probably I would imagine, on the latest Smackdown just before Night of Champions. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens from there. But either way, I think this match is going to be really good. It's dubbed one of their 3 main events. That's a separate round for another occasion. I'm not going to get into that too much. But yeah, Sammy and Kevin to get the win here. I can't see it going the other way at all. But it should be a good one. It should be an enjoyable match nonetheless. But Usos probably going to get involved in this one. Probably going to cost Roman and Solo the titles. And then we delve into that deeper situation into, you know, the coming months then. See what happens with the bloodline of the inside, you know, just the blood members. Obviously, Sammy's now going to be out of the question, and Kevin, they're going to go into other things, I would imagine, after this. And then it's just going to be the family sorting it out between themselves. Solo, Roman, and the Usos. See where it goes from there. But either way, I'm excited for this one. Yeah, Sammy and Kevin to win. Scarlett, over to you, buddy. What are your thoughts about this one? Are you looking forward to this one?
Well, I agree that Kevin Owens and Sammy will retain the titles. I'm unsure if they're actually going to keep them by beating Roman and Solo, because I think part of the problem with this match is who do you book to get pinned? Obviously not Roman. And Solo's only lost 1 match that was by him getting actually pinned, and that was by Cody, who almost beat Roman for the title at Mania. So I'm thinking some sort of maybe a screwy finish here. It doesn't actually take the titles from Kevin and Sammy, maybe like a count out or disqualification or something. I think that's how this one will probably go. And then maybe some sort of continuing of the breakup of the bloodline. That being said, there is a part of me that just really wants Roman and Solo to win these titles, because the reading that would come and the fan reactions and such on social media would be just as entertaining, if not more entertaining, than the actual match itself. So yeah, I think Sammy and KO to retain is my final choice here, but not by a clean pinfall. Back to you, KP.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable to predict, sort of thing. Yeah, it's not going to be a Roman pin at the end of the day, is it? So it's basically some screwy finish. It's going to be an interesting one either way, though. All right, so let's focus now on what we're going to talk about next, which is the SmackDown Women's Championship. We have got Rhea Ripley defending against Natalya. And yeah, I mean, this one is what it is, right? You've got Natalya squaring up to Rhea Ripley. This is at the start of Rhea Ripley's title reign. We obviously had 1 match, which is against Zelina Vega at Backlash, and that was quite a nice way to kick things off for her. You know, pretty simple victory in the end, that one was. But then you want someone like Natalya, who has been around the business for some time now. She's a veteran of the industry. But is she one of the top women in the company right now in terms of like recent accolades and stuff? I wouldn't say so on that front. But obviously, you know, she's a big veteran. Like she's very, very talented individual. She just maybe hasn't been utilized quite how maybe some people would value her in the most recent years, and that sort of makes you think that this match is going to be quite easy for Ripley, and that you would have to, you know, it would be a very strange instance if Natalya was to win here. I think that's sort of like gives that vibe. But yeah, I mean, as much as I think Natalya is a really good superstar and stuff, and like she is gonna put up a good match against Ripley, I don't see any way, shape, or form that Natalya is going to walk out of this one with the gold. It's going to be Rhea Ripley defending here successfully. And yeah, that seems to be a pretty simple one in my eyes. But take nothing away from Natalya. She's still got it. She's still really good. But I think it's just the wrong time for her. Ripley's starting a really good run that I'm sure she's going to get into, you know, a number of months as the champion. And yeah, this is too early for her to be losing the title. So yeah, Mammy to retain. But I'm hoping for a good match here. Should be good. Scarlett, what do you have to offer for this one?
Yeah, so one of the two matches I stated earlier was Gunther retaining as kind of your guaranteed outcome. I think this is another one with Rhea retaining. I assume Dom will come into play here and end up costing the match. But I would prefer just a clean victory. Let's continue building Rhea up. And I think this one could be one of the sleepers of the show. I think we could expect a hard-hitting match here between Natalya and Rhea. But I think at the end of the day, Rhea should retain a somewhat dominant fashion. I think this match will be a little closer in terms of back and forth than the one we had at Backlash. But no reason to even consider Rhea dropping the belt here. Back to you, KP.
Nice and easy, innit? Pretty simple one to digest there. So, okay, having said this one then, we've got another match to talk about now, and this is one of the 3 main events again. I'm not going to go into that too much, but hey, this is the match that I think should be the main event. So you've got AJ Styles taking on Seth Rollins here. The winner of this one becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion. And yeah, I mean, let's just talk about the World Heavyweight Championship for a minute. So this new championship that's been announced, obviously we're talking about a month ago now or so. I can't remember how long it was, 6 weeks ago, whatever it is. It finally gets its inaugural champion, and that's going to be obviously at Night of Champions this Saturday in Saudi Arabia. And what an amazing matchup here, right? Seth Rollins against AJ Styles, 2 of the best, currently going in the business. 2 utterly incredible athletes, in-ring technicians, whatever you want to call them. I'm just hoping for an absolute banger here, as Sheamus would say. Like this should be a really, really, really good match, and obviously it means so much because whoever wins this becomes the first person to hold the World Heavyweight Championship. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. This should be the main event, as I said, but obviously WWE will decide whichever it's going to be. Could be the Roman and Sami and Kevin and Solo match, but this is what I'd ideally like it to be. Either way, tournament that build up for this one, you had Rollins winning the Raw side. And then you had AJ Styles winning the SmackDown side. They come head-to-head very, very soon. And, yeah, I think there's been a lot of talk in this one, right? You've had recently Seth Rollins going over and doing the Captain America filming and stuff. He's been, over there getting that all sorted and things like that. Whatever part he's playing in that film, I'm not too sure. But, yeah, I mean, with Rollins in this one, I still think he's going to win. This is meant to be the title that I think Triple H said was going to be a workhorse title, defended honorably and consistently and whatever you want to call it. And it's basically going to be a title that's going to be showcased a lot more often than not. And that's great. I'm all here for that. Obviously you've got these situations with the WWE Undisputed Universal Champion not being even showcased on the night, in terms of a defense. It's all about the other titles. But anyway, move on to this one. I still think Rollins is going to win here. I don't think Rollins, I'd like to think not anyway. I don't think he's doing this whole, Hollywood stint type thing as a permanent aspect. I still think that he's got enough respect in him to not really walk away at a time where WWE really are going to be relying on him, quite significantly. Because obviously if they give him the World Heavyweight title strap, it's going to be a case of, you're the main man over on Monday nights. You've got to be here consistently. I don't think they're going to let Rollins do that, considering that's what Roman's doing. But SmackDown's AJ Styles being in this one, obviously, if he wins, he had to go over to the Raw roster. Then you asking questions, does that bring the OC with him? Does it bring the likes of Carl, Luke, and Michin over with him? Or do they just stay over there? You think realistically they would go over as a faction, considering they're a group. But I don't know. It just seems like a lot of effort. What's the point in the draft? And if you're doing that kind of thing, I don't really know. But either way, yeah, I'm going to go with Rollins here to get the win. He's going to become the World Heavyweight Champion, and it's going to be a glorious occasion, I reckon. But yeah, it should be a wonderful match. I'm really excited for this one. Let's hope it's going to be as good as it looks on paper. Scarlett, what about your thoughts then, buddy?
Yeah, the fact that we had to create a new title just to have a quote-unquote workhorse title is a bit disappointing, but here we are. I, too, believe that Rollins will win this one. The guy just, he's earned it. He's got all this time, without a title is just kind of criminal for,
we talk about AJ and Seth being the best in the business currently. You could argue, one of the best of all time ever. But that being said, I think AJ is kind of on a part-time basis at this point in his career. He's just not. I just don't think he's interested in wrestling every week. At this point, I think Rollins has a much longer career ahead of him than AJ does, and rightfully so. I think Seth, the guy just deserves it. And this should be the main event. I agree. Especially provided how I think the Bloodline match will go. And now we have a Brock versus Cody and handicap match, essentially. I think this one, without a doubt, should be the main event. That being said, I wouldn't be mad with AJ winning, but again, to your point, to bring over the OC right after we just did the draft just doesn't make a ton of sense. And yeah, I think the clear victor here should be Rollins here, and what should be the best match of the night. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Back to you, KP.
Yeah, you're right. He does deserve it. Everything that he's been doing, for however long now, I just think it's the right time, isn't it? Like he deserved to get his flowers and stuff. The fact that Roman's been a world champion now for however many, is it almost 3 years now, and no one else has been the champion since then. Yeah, he definitely deserves it. He's one of the guys up there that are on the top of his game, and just give it to him. Should be great. Should be freaking fantastic. So yeah, that is basically everything that we have to discuss regarding Night of Champions and all the matches involved, who we think is going to win, and what's going to go down. Fingers crossed it's going to be a really good show. I'm actually quite looking forward to it in terms of most of the matches. I know we said the Backlash was quite mid, but this is definitely a step up in the right direction. And yeah, we've got some really good matches across the card here. So fingers crossed it's going to be a lot of fun to witness. And yeah, we'll see how it all goes down. Fingers crossed it's going to be great.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you in the fact that this match card does look better than the Backlash one. I think there still is some room for improvement in regards to builds for these matches. The Asuka Bianca one, for instance, that should be a marquee matchup that should have a lot of build. But instead, we focused more on the Becky Lynch and Trish match, which provided the premium live event Night of Champions. Maybe shouldn't have gotten as much time. Not that I haven't enjoyed it, but I think that is still an issue. The Rhea and Natalia was kind of just thrown together too. And then, not including the U.S. title at all, with one of your biggest up-and-coming talents in theory. I think that's kind of a missed opportunity as well. And then, the elephant in the room, Roman not defending, instead going after more gold. But, I think the pros on paper outweigh the cons here. And I think this could be a pretty good event. I think in the past, I hadn't really cared much about the Saudi Arabia shows. But the last one I recall being quite good and definitely the best one so far to take place there. So let's hope that trend continues here. And we have a new champion, a new world heavyweight champion getting defended on a monthly or at least bi-monthly basis. Back to you, KP.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that we really expect, isn't it? We want a world title that we can sort of see being defended month in, month out and stuff. Roman's sort of taking a back seat and stuff, which is really irking me. But, I don't know. It's just not that much to ask, is it really? But hey, things are looking up. Things are looking good, and we'll see what comes out from this one. But you made a good point about the Saudi shows there regarding the previous ones. I agree. I hadn't really been looking forward to many of them either in terms of the general cards. But this one does excite me. It really, really does. There's some good stuff across the board. So yeah, it's a nice feeling. It's a nice change. But yeah, that's basically all we've got to say here, guys. So thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully we have a good show on the weekend, and we'll be back with our next video and podcast with the reactions of Night of Champions. That'll be next week, similar time to this going up. Hey, enjoy the show. Enjoy the show, everybody. Let's all see what happens and look forward to a new era. The World Heavyweight Championship being back on our screens again. Love it. I love the design of it, so I'm looking forward to seeing it each and every week. Should be great. But hey, thank you very much to Scarlett as well for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. So take it easy. This has been another KP's Plays YouTube video or podcast if you're listening on Spotify for podcasters. With me, KP, because that would be me. And with Scarlett, because that would be him. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you next time.